We're diving right back into the NBA season following such a lackluster All-Star weekend, and so today I really just wanted to take a look at a few teams who I find interesting to follow for the remainder of the year. The Dallas Mavericks are quietly one of the most fascinating teams to follow for the rest of the year, but after missing the postseason in 2023, they needed to prove that they could turn things around, especially after reaching the Western Conference Finals in 2022. After losing Jalen Brunson for nothing to the Knicks, the Mavs brought in Kyrie Irving at the deadline last year, and they looked kinda shaky, ultimately fizzling out towards the end of the season and missed the playoffs. The major offseason additions were Grant Williams, Derrick Jones Jr., and Dante Exum, who's seen a sort of career resurgence, and rookie big man Derek Lively II, who with a lot more polish to his game, looks to be the second coming of Tyson Chandler. While he's on the floor, the Mavs are a better defensive team, and Grant Williams was supposed to help out with that, but he simply lost his confidence and saw his playing time reduced as the season went on. At the deadline, Dallas needed to make major changes, and they did just that, bringing in Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington in exchange for Williams, Seth Curry, and Richaun Holmes, along with a couple of picks. Since those moves, the Mavs are 3-0 and currently riding a 6-win overall streak, and is first in defense, net rating, rebounding, and blocks in that span, plus Luka and Kyrie are still improving their chemistry on the offensive end. Dallas clearly needed some size in the front court, especially with the constant injuries to Lively, and addressed those issues with the additions of Gafford and PJ Washington. Providing this team heads into the postseason healthy, I don't believe there's a team out there that's necessarily excited to see them in the first round, and folks should definitely keep an eye on them for the remainder of the season. Los Angeles have played way below expectations for a majority of this year after reaching the Western Conference Finals last season. They've slowly been figuring things out lately and finally look like a team that's playing winning basketball, winning 6 out of their last 7 and sitting 4 games above 500. With rumors of LA getting Hawks guard DeJounte Murray at the deadline, the Lakers ultimately opted not to make any trades and just signed Spencer Dinwiddie off the buyout market to improve their bench scoring. D'Lo has been very productive as of late, but prior to the deadline, Atlanta wasn't interested in him, so the potential DeJounte Murray to LA trade fell through. But before all of their recent success, the Lakers won the inaugural in-season tournament and then just fell off a cliff, especially on the defensive end. Now, between the cryptic LeBron tweets and flirting with the Knicks, the inconsistent lineup changes from head coach Darvin Ham, and the unlucky injuries to key role players, the Lakers never really had an identity all season, but LeBron James continues to play at a high level, and we all know when Anthony Davis is healthy and on the floor, he's a top 10 player in the league. We saw last year that both them and the Miami Heat had postseason success even though they were playing teams, but LA doesn't have any more room to be mediocre the remainder of this year, as the West is even more stacked compared to last season. Teams like the Wolves and OKC Thunder are way more developed, and the Nuggets are still the defending champions and can't be taken lightly. The key for the Lakers' success for the remainder of this year will be if the supporting cast in D'Lo, Austin Reeves, and Hachimura continue to hit their shots. OKC improved a lot last season, but still failed to qualify for a postseason run after finishing 40-42, but with the MVP caliber year that SGA has produced and the massive improvement of the supporting cast, they now firmly sit as one of the best teams in the Western Conference as the number 2 seed. Of course, things haven't been perfect, such as Josh Giddey possibly being the odd man out due to his performance, but for such an inexperienced team that missed out on the playoffs last year, they've more than exceeded any expectations set for them before the start of the season, and they're far ahead of schedule. J-Dub has excelled as a legit number 2 option on the team, now averaging 19.2 points on 54% shooting from the field. Chet Holmgren has transformed the Thunder defensively, blocking 2.6 shots a game and dropping 16.7 points on solid efficiency as well. As a result, the Thunder is one of the league's best offensive and defensive teams, which is why this squad is second in the NBA in net rating. They also made a deadline trade to bring in swingman Gordon Hayward, who is currently dealing with an injury, and signed veteran big man Bismack Biyombo, so it'll be interesting to see how well they mesh with this core. Despite being such a young team, they're not seen as a serious contender, and it'll be interesting to watch how a lot of these guys fare in their first playoff experience. The Milwaukee Bucks acquired Damian Lillard prior to the season for Drew Holiday, and Dame started off slow. Him and Giannis had some issues with new head coach Adrian Griffin, who they signed after letting go of Coach Bud after a disappointing postseason run. Earlier this season, we saw Giannis visibly upset with Griffin when he subbed him out of a game, and several others had issues with his offensive and defensive schemes. Now, Griffin was fired after a 30-13 start. The Bucks then hired Doc Rivers, who is notorious for not taking blame and has the most blown 3-1 leads in NBA history, and is now 3-7 under him after an embarrassing loss to the remaining skeletons of the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Milwaukee hasn't had Chris Middleton much lately due to injuries, and this is overall just a much older team. They recently signed Gallinari off the buyout market, and hopefully he can provide some type of a scoring punch, but the Bucks just don't appear to me as a serious contender. I could see them reaching the conference finals, but easily could see them bounced in a series against the Miami Heat or even the New York Knicks. They brought in Dame to be a closer and to improve the offense, as Drew Holiday had a tendency to be inefficient, and don't get me wrong, Dame has definitely proved himself to be a closer this season, but that comes at the expense of the team's overall defense, something that the Bucks have been struggling with for the most part all year. Now, it has improved under Doc Rivers, but at the same time their offense has taken a dive, and we need to keep an eye on the Milwaukee Bucks because once again, to me, they just don't appear as a serious contender, even though they should be. The Golden State Warriors are currently having a roller coaster of a season, especially with the inconsistent play from everyone on the roster not named Steph Curry. They brought in the often injured Chris Paul in the offseason, trading away Jordan Poole to acquire him after they got bounced by the Lakers in the 2023 playoffs. Draymond Green's already been suspended twice this season, once for choking out Rudy Gobert, and then again in December for striking Yusuf Nurkic in the face. Andrew Wiggins has mostly looked like a shell of his former self after arguably being the second best player on their 2022 championship run. The young guys in Kuminga and Moody have expressed concerns over their playing time, and Klay Thompson is just simply struggling to accept the fact that he's on the decline. Klay even lost his starting spot when Steve Kerr decided to bring him off the bench in their last game against the Utah Jazz, where he scored a season-high 35 points. Now, heading into the remainder of this season, Golden State currently sits as the 10th seed in the Western Conference, which is a play-in spot, so it's going to be an uphill battle if they want to be taken seriously for the rest of the year. The Warriors have been better as of late, winning 8 out of the last 10 games, but they are so up and down, you never really know what you're going to get from them any given night. The dynasty that we've known for 10 plus years may just be coming to an end this offseason, as Klay is a free agent, and there's been rumblings lately that they even inquired about a LeBron trade at the deadline. Unless Golden State can turn things around and go on a deep playoff run, we very well could be looking at a very different team next season, considering Steph is still playing at an all-NBA level even at the age of 35. Hey, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like and let me know which teams you're following for the remainder of the season. Thank you guys for watching. See you all next time. Peace out.